Hey guys, it's Cory from CoryBakerFilmmaker.com, and I just saw Crazy Rich Asians, written by Peter Chiarelli and Adele Lim, based on the original novel by Kevin Kwan and directed by John M. Chu. So I caught this movie at the Studio Movie Grill in Downey, California, and the reason why I did it there, as opposed to like the Regal like I usually do, or Glendale or something like that, was because I was dying to see Crazy Rich Asians, and MoviePass is blocking me from seeing it almost everywhere. The only thing I was able to see at Regal this month, or yesterday, was the Happy Time Murders, which I wasn't really. It's not on the top of my list of things to see, and now that MoviePass is limiting the number of movies one can see in a month, I don't know if it's going to make the cut, but I really enjoyed the Studio Movie Grill. The chairs, they've already started the transition of eventually going to more of the Element Draft Host style theater, and I really enjoy the comfortable chairs and the fact that at some point there will be in-seat dining. That's very nice. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth checking out. I would especially say if you have MoviePass and you live in the LA area, go do it, because it's like your only real chance to see any movie you want, because they have a partnership and you can do the online ordering, and it makes it really easy. You just walk on in, they scan your ticket, and you're good to go. On a Crazy Rich Asians, I really enjoyed this flick. Basically, we start in New York, where Rachel and Nick have been in a relationship for a year or so now, and Nick asks if Rachel will come with him to Singapore for his friend's wedding, for his best friend's wedding, and it would be the first opportunity for Rachel to meet his side of his family. And we learn up until the flight, where they're on in like this private suite on like first class accommodations for the flight, that Rachel doesn't really know a whole lot about Nick's family. I mean, she knows that, he has family from the East and that they do all right for themselves, but she doesn't know that they're essentially the richest family in China, and in Singapore at least, at very most. What I really enjoyed about this movie, beyond just sort of the parts of it that are a triumph for diversity and stuff like that, is that it doesn't get too. It's a very sort of paint by numbers romantic comedy, and the fact that there isn't a lot that sort of divides you throughout this whole thing. It's just very easy. It's a very breezy movie. It goes by really quick, and just everyone in it is very good and is beautiful, and the cinematography is great, and like it feels like this story could have been told almost any way, but what makes it so wonderful as a Asian story, if you will, is that there's so much of the conversation that sort of goes with this Jane Austen like class sort of system, that pretty much goes specifically with the ideals that there's a difference between someone who's Chinese and someone who's Chinese American, and that almost a Chinese American is too far of a bridge to cross. That I think that almost any other ethnicity, there's not. I mean, like if my Rachel was from Ireland and I went back, nobody would look down upon me as an Irish American. It wouldn't be quite the same thing. But that's something that you get specifically in Chinese culture, that I thought really made the whole thing sing. And on the diversity matter, I love it. I've been in LA for a couple years now. I've worked on dozens of different sets, and I've worked with literally everyone, and I've worked with largely Chinese crews on a couple films, and I think that for so long in Hollywood, just because to get a movie released, it felt like you had to get through some form of gatekeeper, and these gatekeepers weren't being specifically racist. It's not like they were saying like, well, we don't want Asians in movies. It's just that they didn't think that it could sell, like that it would be worth the investment in putting into the project, and then whether or not they would be able to make their money back. But I mean, this is a perfect that's wrong because you can make your money back on anything if it's good. uh, B, there was no part of this movie that needed anything than what it already had. it it's The cinematography is beautiful, the acting is great, the writing is very well done. um, the locations and the production design is amazing and on point. I just, it was a real great feast for the eyes, and beyond that, I'm just happy that we can, for the first time in a while, have like a real romantic comedy on the big screen at theaters again. I mean, Netflix has sort of taken over this place in our movie going experience where they will release the sort of like traditional 90s 2000 romantic comedy, but this is as close to a real romantic comedy that I've seen in theaters in quite a long time, and I'm just so happy to to have something like this to be able to see again, because it was so well done and so beautiful. A couple particular superlatives I want to throw out from the cast real quick. Constance Wu is a legit movie star, and I want to see her. I want to see her in a lot more things because she's very good, and I just enjoyed the way that she played the character of Rachel. Henry Golding was very good too. I've heard that he hasn't been in acting as long. He sort of carries himself a little bit more like a presenter, like like a Maria Menounos type, with his articulation and the way that he sort of like moves about the scenes. But the two of them together were amazing, and they were really good. And I'd be interested in seeing a lot more of Henry Golding, especially as he gets more reps. I just think that reps is the key here. Michelle Yeoh has a long history, and I think that she got to play a character that is, I'm always sort of in awe when I see somebody be able to play this type of thing where it's like so silent and strong, but not carried in the frame of something strong. I mean, like, so the character of Eleanor, which is Nick's mom, is kind of like the Asian Meryl Streep of Devil Wears Prada sort of thing. Like, she doesn't need to do or say anything. Like, she just it radiates out of her the strength that she has, and I think it's so cool how well she plays it. Like, it's such a tough line to stay on because it's so, if you go a little bit too ham-fisted on it, then it just seems like a caricature. But if you don't hold it strong enough, then it doesn't work. It's such a delicate balance, and I think that she did a phenomenal job. And like, really, pretty much everyone in this flick did a great job. Even the sort of like more traditionally like slapsticky comedy bits from people like Awkwafina and Ken Jeong and Jimmy O Yang. Like, they weren't too much. They were all just the right amount, and it felt very fun and natural, and it just kept things moving. I know that they're talking about this book was sort of part of the book series, was a trilogy, so that they're looking into making a trilogy of these movies, and obviously with the success so far, it would make a lot of sense that they did that, and I will happily show up as soon as I can to see the follow-ups because I really enjoyed it. Critiques, if there's anything, I would really just say that there wasn't a lot of tension or drama about the whole thing. Even at the end, which you can sort of see coming the whole way, there's no real worry that this isn't going to work out the way that you think it is. I mean, there's no real moment that sort of tests the relationship more than anyone would feel comfortable. And I think that's just sort of part of the trying to keep likable characters and sort of put them in these places where we can examine the world in which they live in. And it's just, I think that maybe the follow-ups will have a little bit more heightened edge to it, but there isn't a lot of like high drama in this. It's just a very well done character piece, essentially. If I could afford a rare gong, I would hit it right now for the leaderboard. This is the second time that I've seen a movie at the Studio Movie Grill. Definitely would go check it out again, especially because MoviePass is trying to keep us from enjoying movies. Onto the movie leaderboard. It's tough because, like, it's a romantic comedy, which isn't meant to be the most satisfying dramatic piece, but it's not like a Fast and the Furious type of entry either. But I really, really enjoyed it. So I would give it an 8.1. It's a callback to the romantic comedies of old. It's probably the cinematography in this is probably the best I've seen from a romantic comedy, maybe ever. It's incredibly well done. I think that everyone should go see it. It's so important that we as a people see stories that don't necessarily relate to who we are. So even if obviously in the Asian communities, this movie has been incredibly successful, and people have been buying out theaters, and the love I've seen from my friends in the industry about it have just been crazy. But I think that this is a story that A, not only needed to be told, and B, deserves to be supported, but C, it's just we can't as people close ourselves off to these things. Like you gotta put yourself out there. You gotta try new things, and this is wonderful. It's the romantic comedy you know and love, with a cast that Hollywood never would have given you before. So definitely go check it out. Anyway, that's it from me. If you want more, you can go to my website, CoryBakerFilmmaker.com, Facebook.com/CoryBakerFilm, or at LegendsCB5 on Twitter and Instagram. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a thumbs up. Tell me what you think down below. Share it. Do whatever you got to do. I appreciate literally everything. Sorry that the reviews have gotten a little bit behind. I have been on set recording a feature, and it sort of just fell to the wayside. But it's looking like my schedule is going to clear up a little bit here, so expect a lot more movies as MoviePass will allow. Anyway, I gotta spend some time with my precious little Asian girl.